Yuta steps out to run some errands at the grocery store. As he wanders through the aisles, he can't help but stare in disbelief at how absurdly expensive the veggies are. He mutters to himself that you've gotta really hustle these days just to bring home one of those. It's right at this moment of financial reflection that Izumi pops up right beside him, purely by destiny's coincidence. The two lock eyes in silence for a second, while Yuta wonders, intrigued, what the hell she's doing in that spot at that exact moment. It's clear that the two of them ended up deciding to go shopping at the same time. Yuta can't help but notice how different it is to see Izumi in casual clothes instead of her usual school uniform. He mentally admits how cute she looks this way. Thanks to these unexpected thoughts, the guy starts blushing like crazy. This girl really has his head spinning. Peeking at her cart, Yuta realizes that Izumi only bought snacks and junk food. Yuta asks if those were this month's groceries, and Izumi nods affirmatively, even pulling out a paper list. But Yuta notices that the items on the list are completely different from what's actually in the cart. Izumi tries to explain that she was allowed to spend the rest of the money on trivial things, but the truth is, she bought the sweets first. Yuta gives her some advice, telling her she should focus on the essentials first, but Izumi lets her weakness slip. She just can't resist sweets. To soften the boy's heart, she pulls out the "Poor Me" look, which is straight out of the Pegaso Cats book, definitely not what Yuta expected from her. He wonders if he'll ever figure out what goes on in that girl's head. As they walk through the market together, Izumi struggles with the temptation of all the sweets lining the shelves. Thanks to Yuta's meticulous attention and help, Izumi finally manages to wrap up the main shopping trip with flying colors. She thanks him sincerely and politely bids him farewell. As soon as she walks away, Yuta stands there, wondering how he ended up helping her like that. Suddenly, an old lady from their neighborhood calls out to him, asking about his friend, or rather. She asked if she was his girlfriend. Yuta nearly jumped out of his skin and started babbling quickly to cover up his obvious nervousness. But the old lady just commented that they seemed very close and were having a lot of fun, apologizing for any misunderstanding. Yuta mused over her use of having fun. As he thought about it, he realized something odd. He'd never actually seen Izumi smile for real. Despite this moment of reflection, distrust starts to creep back in. He can't shake the feeling that she's just another person trying to take advantage of the fact that he's Rei's brother. Poor Yuta, always on high alert. Outside the market, Yuta notices Izumi still standing at the entrance. It started pouring down rain, and she doesn't seem to have an umbrella. The boy tries to ignore the scene and keep walking, telling himself it's not his problem. However, he ends up doing the exact opposite of what he planned. Yuta approaches and offers her shelter under his umbrella, using the excuse that she might catch a cold if she stays out in the rain or tries to leave. The two end up walking home together, staying pretty close under the same umbrella. Yuta thought she'd just grab the item and head off on her own, like most girls would, but Izumi tugged him closer so they could walk side by side. Midway through their journey, their shoulders bump accidentally, sending a shiver right down Yuta's spine. Izumi looks at him and says that it's fine for them to walk like this since there isn't much space anyway, as the umbrella was made for just one person. Meanwhile, Yuta can't stop thinking about how physically close she is to him, which leaves him incredibly nervous. Still, the voice of doubt in her head tells her she should be taking advantage of the situation. At that moment, a truck speeds past a puddle of water on the street. Yuta, acting purely on protective instinct, quickly steps in front of Izumi, using his body as a shield to keep her from getting completely soaked by the mud. Izumi logically points out that he could have just used the umbrella as a shield instead. She has a valid argument, but the guy brushes it off, saying it's no big deal as long as she didn't get wet. That's when, without realizing it, Yuta lifts up the umbrella, which is dripping with accumulated water, and ends up getting them both soaked. They just stand there in awkward silence after that little fiasco until Izumi lets out a laugh and smiles in a way that Yuta has never seen before. Yuta stands frozen in front of the scene, struggling to stammer out an apology. However, Izumi calms him down, asking him to relax and sincerely thanks him for trying to protect her. Finally, the sun starts peeking through the clouds. Izumi then takes the initiative and starts walking in front, saying it's better they head home quickly so he can dry off before catching a cold. Poor Yuta is completely smitten just looking at that smile. Oh man, that damn smile, right? Wait a minute. You've watched this far and still haven't liked or subscribed? Come on, my dear, give me a hand. Like and subscribe to win a cookie. On another day of school, the eagerly awaited class seat swap event kicks off. Yuta knows this is a critical moment, but the person he needs to be most careful about? None other than Izumi. By some cruel twist of fate, she ended up sitting right next to him. Izumi takes the lead in the interaction and confidently says that the two are going to get along great as desk mates. Meanwhile, Yuta sinks into his thoughts, questioning why out of all the students in that classroom, it had to be her who ended up there. Yuta, however, decides he won't let this get him down and resolves to use their proximity to his advantage. He starts mentally plotting a plan to find out more about Izumi's intentions and put an end to her once and for all. His plans are interrupted when he gets a serious scare, realizing that Izumi has been staring at him intensely. She quickly clarifies that she was just looking at the mountains through the window, claiming that admiring nature from afar is good for your health. Yuta decides to put his plan on hold for now. He feels like he'll never figure out what's going on in her head. Yeah, Izumi's also eyeballing someone pretty intensely, isn't she? Looking over at the desk next to him, Yuta notices how all of her school supplies are super delicate and cute, quite the opposite of his, and there's even a weird keychain hanging out there too. Noticing his interest, Izumi picks up the object and explains that it's called Lazy Dog. Her eyes sparkle as she gushes about how cute the little keychain is, saying it's so adorable it reminds her of Yuta herself. The boy abruptly stands from his chair, denying any resemblance at all. His classmates watch the scene with amused comments, joking that the two already seem to be having a blast together. In the end, Yuta realizes he's been going in circles trying to find something new about her. Most of the girls who approached him were just annoying him with questions about his famous brother. But Izumi, she's doing the exact opposite. Why is that, Yuta? Then, out of nowhere, Izumi appears wearing glasses. Wow, she looks so cute with this new look, doesn't she? I have to admit, I'd totally go for an Izumi like that. Yuta, curious as hell, asks if Izumi really has some vision problem. Izumi confirms she does. It's not usually a big deal, but now that she's sitting at the back of the classroom, her glasses have become practically essential. And what about all that talk of gazing at distant mountains? How does that fit in now? She then asks if the guy can see well from there, and Yuta replies that it's all normal to him. He even mentions how he used to play with street kids in forests and open fields back in the day. Yuta starts to think if she has vision problems, the desk she used to sit at should be. But his train of thought is interrupted by the teacher, who calls on him to answer a question. The thing is, he wasn't paying the slightest bit of attention in class. Noticing Yuta's predicament, Izumi whispers one word: perseverance. Yuta is immediately torn inside. She might have given the right answer, but can he really trust her in a moment like this? The memories of the pranks and confusion from the day before are still fresh in his mind. Despite the doubt, he decides to take the risk and hesitantly blurts out the answer Izumi whispered in his ear. To his own surprise, he nails it. Embarrassed and fumbling, Yuta mumbles a thank you to the guy sitting next to him. Izumi winks charmingly at him over the frames of her glasses. At that moment, Yuta feels a pang of embarrassment and wonders internally why she got so happy just because he answered a question right. The boy starts considering a truce. Since she helped him with the right answer, he decides to trust her this time. Seizing the opportunity, he asks why she didn't just ask to switch places with someone in front if she has trouble seeing far away. Izumi pauses for a second, adjusts her glasses on her face, and replies, "I like this place." It seems that Yuta really can't wrap his head around her logic. The narrator flashes back to the moment of place selection. Izumi ended up drawing a slip that put her in the back of the room. Her friend Urara even wondered if she was sure about staying there, but Izumi assured her she was totally cool with it. In the end, that spot at the back is where Yuta is hanging out. From then on, Izumi decides to mix things up with her look and starts tying her hair back. Truth be told, she tries out multiple hairstyles one after another, constantly asking Yuta if that style suits her. Yuta also notices that she beams with an extreme amount of happiness every time she looks inside her pencil case. Curious about what could be hiding in there, he gives it a quick glance and sees nothing but several drawings of little puppies. Maybe those puppies are the ones in her head that remind her of Yuta. Now that he's taken a closer look at the people around him, Yuta notices that Urara never runs off in a panic to see Rei like the other fans do. It turns out Urara loves herself way more than she loves Rei. For some reason, knowing this brings a sense of calm to our skeptical Yuta's heart. Well, we've reached the end of the chapters. For now. And there, do you want the continuation? So leave a like and a comment with a cookie. Until next time, my dears.